welcome to the channel. Today, I will recap one of the finest survival escape movie called Balloon, this thriller based on a true story released in 2018. We follow a family's daring escape from East Germany to West Germany in a balloon. Between year 1976 to 1988, around 38,000 people attempted this risky journey, but sadly, almost 500 lost their lives at the border. The story begins with a family consisting of Peter, Doris, their sons Frank and Fitz, attending a school program. Fitz performs on stage while a man gives a speech praising East Germany and communism. Back home, the family is joined by their new neighbor Eric, who works for the secret police and believes in communism. Frank and Eric's daughter, Clara, also have feelings for each other. Same day, a balloon slips from a child's hands and drifts towards West Germany, signaling a change in the wind. Peter and Doris turn to their friend Gunter, telling him to let's flee, but he refuses due to the risks involved and the limited capacity of the balloon. This upsets Peter, as it was Gunter's plan in the first place, escaping through balloon. With time running out and the wind favoring their escape, the family decides to fly alone today itself. Meanwhile, Frank spots Clara but can't express his emotions directly. Instead, he writes her a farewell letter and drops it for her to find. A family embarks on a nighttime journey towards the jungle. Along the way, they encounter someone who appears to need help, possibly due to a broken-down truck. However, the family chooses to continue without stopping. Meanwhile, Gunter and his wife are filled with worry, but Gunter's father advises him that he should have joined Peter's family to escape. On the other side, Peter and his family make a stop at a grassy area within the jungle. They prepare the balloon, board it, cut the rope, and it begins to ascend into the sky. Doris points out that the balloon's light makes it easily visible, prompting Peter to take it higher, where it is colder and among the clouds, approximately 1,700 meters above ground. Frank keeps an eye on their instruments. At this point, they have been flying for 14 minutes, covering half the distance. It has been quite an exciting and daring journey. However, water starts seeping into the balloon as the tarpaulin material absorbs moisture, making it heavier. Peter tries to compensate by adding more gas, but now the gas pipeline freezes. When he checks the pipeline, his hand gets burned. Consequently, they begin descending rapidly. After a short while, the balloon crash lands into the trees in the jungle, a risky and thrilling landing, but luckily no one is injured. Frank informs them that they have been flying for 28 minutes, which should have been enough time to cross the border. However, they feel disheartened because they ended up crashing in East Germany. If they had managed to fly for just 5 more minutes, they would have made it across the border. Since they can't bring the balloon with them, they decide to leave it behind. In the morning, it catches the attention of a soldier. As daylight approaches, they set out to find their car. Along the way, they come across a small town near the border, and they fear being caught. Fortunately, they locate their car and dispose of the machine used to fill the balloon with gas, erasing all evidence. Finally, Frank successfully retrieves a letter from Clara's mailbox to ensure their family secret remains undisclosed. Now Doris is visibly furious, because if they had descended a bit earlier, the guards would have apprehended them. Furthermore, the military has been informed about their attempt to cross the border using the balloon. At that moment, Colonel Seidel, known for his strict communist beliefs, arrives near the border. The initial investigation reveals that the balloon is remarkably stable, and its cylinders have been deliberately stripped of their serial numbers to prevent tracing. However, the investigators discover Doris' medication at the scene. Observing this, Seidel issues immediate orders to shoot anyone approaching the border. In another scene, Frank informs Peter that they could travel to Hungary or Czechoslovakia from their current location and then make their way to West Germany. However, Peter explains that the embassy would not allow them to proceed since others have attempted the same route before. Frank then suggests trying the US Embassy, as they also aid in rescuing people. However, it's not as simple, as it requires a connection within the US Embassy to succeed. During the night, when Doris goes to take her medicine, she recalls the possibility of having dropped it in the jungle. Since pharmacies only dispense medications with a doctor's prescription, this realization raises concerns as it means the police could trace the medicine back to them. On another front, Colonel Seidel taking disciplinary action against the border guards for not being alert on cross-border activities. Meanwhile, Seidel inspects the balloon and realizes that it has been expertly stitched with a professional sewing machine. He begins investigating nearby stores where the fabric used for the balloon may have been purchased. Doris Medicine undergoes investigation, revealing that it is a thyroid medication typically taken by a woman aged between 30 and 40. Additionally, she would bear a scar from a throat operation, further adding to their potential identification. Peter and his family reach Berlin, seeking refuge in a hotel with a view of West Germany across the Berlin Wall. Their visible desperation reflects their longing to reach the other side. Their main objective is to seek assistance from the U.S. Embassy, but their fear of wiretapping prevents them from making the call after tearing out the embassy's phone number. Upon attempting to reach the embassy, they encounter intense security checks, with secret police officers taking photographs, which fill them with fear. Nonetheless, Frank cleverly slips their message into the cigarette pack of an American couple heading to the embassy, hoping for a response. Unfortunately, no call arrives throughout the day. Later, a phone call is received from the hotel reception, prompting Peter to go downstairs. He meets an American who, assuming Peter wants a cigarette, unknowingly gives him the entire pack. Returning to the room, Peter finds nothing inside, leading him back to the reception, where he discovers that his lost wallet was found and returned, prompting the call. Realizing his failed plan, Peter accepts responsibility for endangering his family. Now Peter's younger son Fitz suggests making another balloon, an idea supported by Doris, but they know they can't accomplish it without Gunter's help. In another scene, Gunter and his family learn that a balloon has been found near the border, leaving them uncertain whether Peter's family successfully crossed or was captured. Peter meets Gunter, sharing all the details, and they both prepare to construct another balloon. The next day, Peter and his family embark on a shopping trip to gather materials for their balloon project. They inquire about purchasing 200 meters of fabric, but the saleswoman explains that it must be retrieved from the warehouse. She notifies her manager. Sensing potential involvement of the police, they quickly leave. Due to the widespread attention garnered by their balloon escape, suspicions arise from their substantial fabric request. To avoid further scrutiny, they decide to purchase only 20 meters at a time. Despite the complications, Gunter persists with his sewing tasks. Upon discovering the purchase of 200 meters, Seidel deduces that preparations for another balloon endeavor are underway. Consequently, he orders increased security measures across the area. An additional complication arises when Gunter receives a call summoning him to military duty within 6 weeks. Failure to comply would result in imprisonment. Given the limited time available, Gunter agrees to complete the balloon within the stipulated timeframe, recognizing that joining the army would impede his involvement in the project. Meanwhile, everyone begins procuring 20 meters of fabric from different cities and stores to minimize suspicion. Gunter diligently sews while Frank accompanies Peter to retrieve the previously discarded motor fan. Additionally, they construct a spacious basket capable of accommodating 8 individuals comfortably. At the ministry office, Seidel faces mounting pressure due to the failure to identify the responsible parties involved in the balloon manufacturing. Her superior warns that if another balloon is successfully created and crosses over, it will become a global mockery on them. On another front, Frank and Peter manage to resolve the issue with the gas tank in the jungle. The fire had been burning inadequately due to low pressure within the gas cylinder, causing it to extinguish previously. However, an incident occurs when Frank accidentally drops the cylinder, sparking an idea. By inverting the cylinder, the pressure increases significantly. Conducting a test confirms their hypothesis, igniting a fire rapidly and bringing them great satisfaction as they overcome the problem. Gunter pays a visit to Peter's house to discuss the issue of sewing the balloon there, as the noise from the sewing machine could attract unwanted attention from the neighbors. Peter suggests using the basement for sewing, where the noise won't be heard. With Gunter's urgent need to join the army in just 5 days, the completion of the balloon becomes crucial. As a result, they start visiting Peter's house every night, aware that their frequent visits might raise suspicion if noticed by others. To counter this risk, Gunter and Petra pretend to be drunk, creating the illusion of hosting daily parties. On the other side, Seidel successfully tracks down the witness who encountered Peter and his family in the jungle. The witness describes a couple with 2 children traveling in a blue and white car towing a trailer when his truck broke down. This matches the information provided by the clothing store owner in Berlin. The following day, Petra comes across a newspaper photo featuring tools used for building the balloon, confirming the urgency to expedite their work. Further investigation at the clothing store reveals that 2 women regularly purchase the same fabric. When shown a photo of Peter's car, the saleswoman confirms that these individuals arrive in such a vehicle. Although she lacks the complete license plate information, she provides the starting digits, allowing Seidel and her team to narrow down the area from the car belongs. Upon receiving this information, Eric, who is not only Peter's neighbor but also a member of the secret police, becomes alerted to the fact that the balloon was launched from his own area. In the next scene, it becomes apparent that Clara has found a new boyfriend, indicating that Frank is unavailable due to his busy schedule. Afterward, Seidel goes to the largest pharmacy store in the area, accompanied by Eric. The pharmacist informs them that approximately 100 to 200 people from the vicinity purchase that particular medicine. They collect addresses of the individuals who buy the medicine, and the secret police officers commence their interrogations, visiting each person's home. Meanwhile, Peter receives exciting news on the radio. Due to heavy rain, the wind is blowing towards the west at a speed of 40. He hurriedly shares this information with Gunter, who is also thrilled to hear about it. Subsequently, Frank visits Clara's house and suggests the idea of traveling to West Germany together. However, Clara declines the proposal. Just then, Eric returns home wearing a raincoat, preparing to leave once again. Clara inquires whether he is going back to the pharmacy. Frank questions Clara about her father's purpose for going to the pharmacy, and she explains that the secret police are conducting a search there. Realizing this, Frank alerts Peter. Now, in any case, Gunter must complete his task today, as the police are questioning numerous households. By evening, Gunter finishes sewing the balloon, but there is a small hole in it and they lack sufficient fabric to repair it. They decide to use regular cloth instead. Seidel and her team came across a detail regarding Doris. Eric mentions that she is neighbor. Seidel inquires whether they possess a blue and white car with a trailer, which Eric confirms. Now it's evident that these are the individuals planning to escape. They swiftly make their way to their house, only to discover that no one is there. It signifies that they have already departed. In the basement, they discover a sewing machine and a balloon magazine. Seidel gets angry at Eric for not knowing about everything happening in front of his house. The police are now deployed everywhere, especially checking blue and white cars. But they all leave in different vehicles, taking alternate routes to avoid suspicion. Gunter and Frank ride their bikes separately to avoid arousing suspicion. Seidel searches the area from a helicopter while Peter and the others reach the jungle. Peter and Doris start preparing the balloon while Gunter and Frank arrive safely. The balloon is inflated, but there is a mishap with a rope causing a small fire. Peter puts out the fire, but the balloon sustains slight damage. Nevertheless, it takes off easily. They notice a tear in the fabric, so Peter increases the gas. Seidel spots a light from his chopper and started following. Suddenly, gas is out and flame dies. Seidel realizes that balloon must be going down and orders a military search party. The balloon starts descending, first hits a tower and then crashes into a tree in the jungle. Gunter sustains a minor injury, but the others are unharmed. Frank discloses that their flight lasted for 28 minutes, matching their previous unsuccessful attempt. This revelation disturbs everyone. Meanwhile, the military is actively searching for them in the jungle. Suddenly, Peter and Gunter spot a car and approach it. 2 officers emerge from the vehicle, and Peter inquires if they are in West Germany. However, they clarify that it's Bavaria, which brings relief since Bavaria is part of West Germany. Peter and Gunter ecstatically embrace each other for their accomplishment. Peter warmly embraces the officer, while Gunter fires a flare gun into the air, a signal to Seidel that they have successfully crossed the border, rendering his efforts futile. The entire family celebrates as they have left communist Germany behind and arrived in democratic Germany, where they won't be treated like puppets. The following day, Clara reads Frank's letter, while Eric undergoes questioning. The story then fast-forwards by 10 years. Peter and Doris watch the news, which announces that East Germany has gained independence, bringing Germany closer to reunification. Subsequently, Gunter approaches one of his pilot friends and takes off with Petra to meet his parents in East Germany. This marks the conclusion of the movie. Before credit starts, we are shown Peter's actual car, the very spot from which they launched the balloon. Both their first and second balloons are showcased, along with Gunter's sewing machine and a photo depicting his treatment. Their family is honored, and the balloon is once again launched. Finally, the actual photo of Peter and his family is displayed, bringing the movie to a complete close. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon.